All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Greene, another beautiful day out here in Maui, Hawaii. Praise God for that. It is January 7th today, 2022. Talk about unprecedented times. But again, you measure a real man by the solutions that he actually finds, a real woman by the solutions that they actually find during challenges, during obstacles. And I believe 2022, 2023 will be some of the toughest in world history. But we're going to address what can you do? What are the major trends? And I actually tweeted this as well. Make sure to follow me at AMTV Media today. That's absolutely free. And also share this video. I'd really appreciate that. Helps us beat the algorithm, etc. By the way, we had some really cool waves last night locally. We're hitting about like 5-footers. I got some footage of some wipeouts of some surfers last night, which was kind of fun. So make sure to follow me at our official account at AMTV Media on Twitter and, of course, Instagram. So let's talk about the geopolitical risk right now. Then we'll get into the major bullet points, the trends and opportunities for you in 2022, the solutions, and how to pivot, potentially profit, leverage yourself in this environment. First, I want to talk about global geopolitical instability and risk. This is massive, and I think it's being underestimated, maybe by a lot of you tuning in, certainly by the mainstream corporate media. Kazakhstan, unrest. We are having a major, major problem. And no, this is not the Borat movie. This is in real life. Very nice, very nice. I don't have a Speedo on today, but I guess I could get one on. In all seriousness, though, we have major political, civil unrest in this part of the world. And I want you to take note of this because it borders very strategically China and also Russia. Russia was just about to enter, I think, bilateral negotiation and talks with NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the Biden administration out here in the United States, within a week on Ukraine, which it had been stacking troops up until recently, until these negotiations were about to take off, and now this. So Russia, because it's very concerned about this, it's right on its border with Russia and China, is now sending in troops. We've seen the leadership there flee, disappear from the region, and this is very strategic. There's a lot of mineral rights. There's a lot of wealth in this area, and it's also notable. It accounts for like 16 to 18% of all Bitcoin mining. A lot of the mining, when it was banned in China, moved to Kazakhstan, and also the United States, which is super bullish, to places like Texas and other states. So keep your eye on that. I think a lot of people may in fact be underestimating it. We could also see more geopolitical risk in this part of the world, not just affecting Kazakhstan, but also Ukraine in this larger region, which could be very, very serious. They shut down the internet, and that's why the Bitcoin mining operations went down. And I think it's even played in a little bit to the correction, the short-term correction, because we're still in a secular bull market, I believe, with Bitcoin and crypto in the short term. Now, the Winklevoss twins, Mike Novogratz, myself, all think this is the bottom. Looking at the indicators, if we're looking at crypto below the $2 trillion total crypto market cap, I use that as an indicator. If history is our guide, and it doesn't necessarily mean it repeats, those are usually good entry points and buying opportunities. Again, remember, you're supposed to buy low, never sell in the case of crypto, because you can borrow against it, you can securitize it, you can take and store that wealth and have absolute sovereign control over it. Also, major announcements from China introducing CBDCs with their Alipay and WeChat mobile apps. They are leading the charge when it comes to central bank digital currencies. China, Ukraine, South Korea, these are major areas that have already released CBDCs and are experimenting with them, followed by European nation states, Canada a little bit, and really the United States is probably last to this party. So I've got an eye on that as well, because China has a strategic advantage where I believe they are replacing the world reserve petrodollar currency here in the United States, where the United States got a lot of its power from over our generations, and it's being replaced by the East. Also places, technological hubs like Singapore, etc. Also, we had the jobs report come out, which was a gross underestimate from what Biden had warned, suggesting that we were going to get 420K expected jobs, but a total miss, getting about half that of 199K. Yet miraculously, the unemployment rate went down. I don't know how that's possible, but again, these are the numbers that they give us, and these are the numbers that we're working with. So that's played into a little bit of a tech sell-off, which I view as an opportunity. CEO compensation, breaking records. Apple CEO Tim Cook's compensation totaled about $100 million in 2021. That's a near five-fold, 500% increase from the previous year. This basically aligns with what we've seen with other major CEOs like Jeff Bezos and others in the space like Elon Musk that have seen massive wealth inequality basically transfer to CEOs, especially in the tech space, grow disproportionately from the rest of society. So I wanted to take note of that as well. Now, cryptocurrency is going to be the next major asset class over the next decade. We had GameStop announce a new NFT marketplace for its video game market, and also we've had announcements from Nike, Louis Vuitton, and other major retailers moving into wearables and also gaming avatars. So let's talk about the top trends. I'm going to give you about 6 top trends today that you can pivot, potentially profit from, generate the cash flows. I go into a lot more detail at school, improve your life, because again, you need to start looking at solutions, ladies and gentlemen, to improve your life in a very treacherous environment. Don't let fear control you. Fear will make you broke, and it will make you incapable of taking the necessary action that you need in order to be successful. So, I want all of you guys tuning in to be successful, especially in this environment. So let's talk about the top trends. Number 1, I've got remote work. That's going to continue. That means that opportunity has been democratized. Your ability to create a job for yourself has never been a better opportunity than right now. In fact, I met a young gal on the beach yesterday. She's a Harvard undergraduate student. She does all of her education online. Think about this for a minute. Her entire education is online. Now, that's cool and all. Harvard's a great university, and that's really amazing that she can get in there. However, wasn't the real value of college, like going to Harvard, the actual interpersonal face-to-face relationships that you were going to get at Harvard? Because you can audit a lot of these courses and get the same information. It's really the connections and the networking that's valuable. So it puts into perspective the fact that online education is huge. I mean, that's why I started my company years and years ago, because I could see this coming from a mile away and realize this is really democratizing the opportunity to build wealth, create cash flows, build the lifestyle you want, especially for those of you out there like myself that want to be these digital nomads. So remote work's number 1. Remote learning is number 2, which I just cited as the second example. Also, point number 3, we're going to see more centralized control of CBDCs, the fiat-controlled governmental currencies, which will replace cash versus the private side, decentralized coins, tokens, currencies, and projects like the Island Project, which I'm going to be making more announcements very, very soon. So you've got this war currently taking place between CBDCs and old fiat, of which they're going to have Know Your Customer, KYC, anti-money laundering, all the things that governments need to look under the hood, and they'll have centralized control over that, versus the private side, which gives you monetary sovereignty, allows you to create wealth for yourself, allows you to hold and control that wealth, allows you to work within your own local communities and build those communities. So you've got kind of like these two worlds coexisting. Now, of course, we're seeing more regulation move to the forefront, all which is positive. And this is also why the opportunity is so huge for you guys tuning in, because none of this has been decided yet, right? We're like on the curve in the upward trajectory over the next 10 years, because I believe this will be the number 1 performing asset class, where all of this will be decided. More millionaires, hopefully you tuning in, will be minted, and a lot of billionaires are going to be minted. I think the world's first trillionaire in the tech, crypto, blockchain space. It's important to note, Tim Cook, the 100 millionaire, made $100 million last year in 2021 when a lot of people lost their jobs. What did he publicly disclose recently? The fact that he's in Bitcoin and crypto. But he had been withholding that information from the public. So trust that plan. Point number 4, as a result of all this, expect a more unfair wealth inequality gap being created in the United States and worldwide. This means that the natural next progression, and trust this plan, will be universal basic income, UBI. Now, I don't think UBI is going to be sufficient for you tuning in. It's definitely not going to be sufficient for me, my life goals. So I don't think it's something any of us can rely on, especially as it'll create more inflation by printing fiat CBDC dollars backed by nothing that, again, raise the prices of all real assets denominated in fiat fake CBDC dollars. And that's why real estate's going to continue to go up, in my opinion. Stocks are going to continue to go up. Tech stocks in particular are going to continue to go up. Bitcoin, crypto, DeFi, all these things are all the rage because there's nowhere else to put your money as we see China and basically the East establish itself as new world reserve. Not to mention its military might, its naval might, now has very aggressive naval destroyers that are now being manufactured. So they're really catching up to the United States power, and not just with currencies and digital currencies, but also with the military-industrial complex itself. So UBI will be coming next, and even Jack Dorsey, who has just stepped down as CEO, has that listed at the top of his Twitter account, and he's had it there for years, that after all these other things happen, they'll be focused on UBI. So there's also going to be this dichotomy between renter society and owners. Very few owners here and renters over here. This is why you want to own. Okay, you want to be on the owner side, which is far and few between. Housing, real estate, land, resources, food, water rights, agriculture, Bitcoin, crypto, anything you have monetary sovereignty over, create cash flows or wealth appreciation is going to be valuable in an environment where there's far few haves and mostly have-nots, as technology really takes over in Luddite fashion. Also, point number 6, final point, and then I'll conclude, is that we're also going to see a carbon footprint in the future. Imagine a world when you're about to board a plane and you'll have to fill out a questionnaire on how much you've traveled that year based on your carbon footprint. And I think you can see where I'm going with this. This is going to be a major issue, not just for incentivizing Fortune 500 and corporate America, but your ability to travel and freedom of movement moving forward. So what's the solution to all this? We understand the trends. Hopefully that helps you kind of understand the ideas of where we're headed, how you can pivot, leverage, profit, create cash flows. But there's 2 big takeaways that I want you to think about today. And of course, join us at school, take advantage of that amazing opportunity to learn much more in a practical way so you can put that into action for yourself, your family, and communities. There's going to be a split between local communities that are operating almost like in black market outside the system when it comes to food, water, land, energy, money, and everything else, even the things that we can't talk about here. There's going to be local communities. I call that the island project concept. Okay, we've got our own blockchain coming up soon, and this is what it's going to entail. We're operating outside the system with our local networks for everything. Money, food, land, energy, water, defense, the list goes on and on. And we're utilizing a lot of this new technology as a result of these trends versus centralized power, okay, and more aggregate centralized power like we see all over the world. So we have these 2 conflicting things currently happening. Again, local communities, this is where the solution is. You've got to build things from the ground up in a decentralized manner and build that out, replicate it worldwide versus centralized global power. And as Elon Musk has suggested in recent podcast interviews, we're going to see basically this war of worlds between Luddites, he calls them, that kind of resist the new technology upgrades, okay, versus where society is generally headed in a multi-generational, these are my words, multi-generational fashion over the next several decades and the new century. So they're expecting a lot of this stuff to play out multi-generationally. And I think that's something for all of you to consider. So again, remote work, remote learning, more centralized control, CBDCs versus private-based sovereign money, which you should learn about, and creates wealth opportunities and cash flow opportunities. Wealth gap, universal basic income, renters versus owners, carbon footprint scores, and then basically these 2 concepts of local communities, I call IP, the island project over here, and then centralized power. Okay, and again, in order to solve your problem, solve all of our problems, solve my problems, your problems tuning in, you're going to have to maintain a healthy focus on, okay, what are the solutions? I see far too many people citing all the problems, but failing to give a single solution looking ahead. And again, if all you're doing is focusing on negativity and fear, it'll make you immobile. It'll make it so you can't take action in an environment where you need to be playing offense.